the question then is, did it restore any faith that Sherrone Moore will get it right? It's not right this year. It's not going to get right this year. He's going to have to hit the transfer portal. He's going to have to own the transfer portal for O-line. I mean, for a lot of different parts of the team, because the talent that he does have this year, a lot of it will be in the draft and won't be back next year. So you're not going to have a Will Johnson, I would assume. Yeah. You're not going to have a Mason Graham or a Kenneth Grant or a Colston Loveland. Now, the tight end position is pretty stacked. Hogan Hansen is pretty good, and they've got a lot of talent there. But you're going to have to find talent, at almost every position in the transfer portal. Sherrone Moore is a good recruiter coming out of high school. Do you believe he'll be a guy that will be good in the transfer portal? Because at no point in college football history are you able to change the trajectory of a program quicker than you can now.
Yeah, I thought it was encouraging that the quarterbacks seem to be set up for success. I mean, they are what they are, right? When I saw it was Davis Warren, I go, oh, boy. And I think you knew even before I did, but I'm going, oh, boy. Yeah. And they had him with safe completions early. Now, he missed some stuff. He is still Davis Warren, but he didn't turn the ball over, which is a huge win for him. Well, and he had a couple nice throws when he needed to.
And the misses were more in the second half. He missed the first pass of the game, but then he completed 10 in a row. And it wasn't until like completion 6 or 7 where it was actually past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I know. But it felt like they knew what they were working with. They were going to make the most of what they were working with. And I think it's incumbent on them this offseason to be working with more next season. Yeah. And there's an advantage. This is such a silver lining. Because they're bad, they're going to get to go at the front of the buffet line.
To the portal?
Yeah, they're going to go to the portal, and they're going to say, I want some lobster, I want some steak, I'm going to come up for seconds and thirds, as opposed to last year when they could have done a better job, but the buffet line had already been picked through a little bit. It's going to have to be an aggressive offseason for them. It may mean coaching staff changes. I have not been overly impressed with Kurt Campbell. Wink Martindale, I don't know if he's a college coach long-term, and certainly his defense is disappointed this season. Does Sherrone make a tough call on one or both coordinators? Does he bring in a quarterback and a coordinator combo meal? We see more of that in college football. I'm not giving you anything specific, but I am curious to see how he reflects on this year afterwards and can try to make more wholesale changes. In the moment, they got to win the Northwestern game to get to a bowl game. I don't expect them to beat Oregon or Ohio State or even Indiana. How they look in those games, that will matter for perception. There's no moral victory, but perception for the program. You can't lose by 35 to Ohio State. You can't lose by 28 to Oregon this week.
So, here's what you need to see in the Oregon game. It needs to look better playing against Oregon than you looked against Texas. So that there is a way to show, okay, it feels like you are improving as a program. There is actual development. There's actual coaching going on. And nobody, take the line aside. I don't even know what it is right now. No one is going to pick Michigan to win outright against Oregon coming to town. Okay, yeah, I'm probably not picking either.
Yeah.
But how do they look compared to how they looked against Texas when they play Ohio State at the end? And I know it's a rivalry and all that stuff, but how do they play in that game on the road in Columbus versus how they played at home against Texas and Oregon?
Some ticket text, 248-539-9797. This win restores zero of my faith in the Michigan coaching staff. Wink Martindale and Sherrone Moore both need to be fired. Says, unfortunately, won't happen until the NCAA crap is over. Michigan will continue to be terrible for the next couple years. Drew in Woodhaven.
Well, if you don't believe he's going to do anything in the portal, then
they are going to be.
Then, yeah, that would be the assumption.
But we saw Ohio State hit the portal heavy to try to get back into the title picture.
Yeah.
I think Michigan will have to be unafraid and I don't know, John, I don't know the financials. I don't know if they're going to throw $20 million. The point is it's going to have to be an aggressive offseason for Michigan because this is not acceptable. This is nowhere close to acceptable. 6-7 wins is 3-4 wins from acceptable.
Well, and here's the difference between Michigan hitting the portal and Ohio State. Ohio State hit the portal hard because, Alabama was seeing a coaching change. They picked up a number of different players from really good programs that were seeing a little bit of a turnover, but they were adding to a really good base of talent. Michigan is going to have a lot of wholesale change.
Ticket Texter says, Spartan here. Big fan of Jonathan Smith. I do think he understands the rivalry. We lost because of poor execution. However, I can't help but wonder if Signetti would have been the better hire. I think both Michigan and Michigan State could ask that question. He's done such a remarkable job at Indiana, of all places.
Yeah, before I jump all over, I think Cignetti has done a really, really nice job in Bloomington. I need to see a full season and maybe even a second season because he did the same thing. He hit the transfer portal hard.
Brought a lot of his JMU guys.
Yeah. But I need to see him play against some – I want to see what he looks like against Ohio State. All right, play the big boys.
They're still off to their best start in like 50, 60 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's regardless.
8-0 is crazy.
Yeah, if they only won like another game this season, it'd still be one of the greatest seasons in Indiana football history. And I think they're going to win a couple games, still get to 10 wins and be in that conversation to be a playoff team.
Does 10 wins get them in? It's a Big Ten team with only 2 losses.
I think they'll be favored in all but one game the rest of the way. That's 11-1. And I think they got a shot against Ohio State. As silly as that sounds, I do. I don't think very highly of this Buckeye team. And I do think highly of Indiana. They'll have a puncher's chance in that game.
I need to see it to believe. That's one I've got to see to believe.
Okay. Ticket texters 248-539-9797 with some of their thoughts. This one says, Jonathan Smith literally said he now understands how big the rivalry is, which means he didn't fully know what to expect. Says, I'd still take Jonathan Smith over Coach Moore any day. Go green. Ticket texter says, Smith actually understood the rivalry too much. He knew he had to come in and run the football and win the battle at the line of scrimmage, and they did. The problem is they didn't do the other stuff. They didn't make enough plays in their passing game. They gave up too many plays in the passing game on play action. Yeah, it's an interesting read that he was too dialed in. People probably told him, if you win the rushing battle, you're winning the football game. And he's looking around going, what gives, guys? I won the rushing battle. You guys told me that's all I had to do.
With the way that they came out, though, and dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, I find it very hard to believe that he didn't have his team ready. Now, you could say error in game plan. They didn't throw the ball enough against Michigan secondary, minus Will Johnson. Even if Will Johnson was there, they have really struggled against the pass. And he's not the quarterback. The quarterback ultimately fumbled the ball one time. I thought Inchals played a good game, but he made a mistake in that moment. And he's also not the kicker. And No Kim is a good kicker.